Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Superhero Initiative. As you all probably know, the next big Marvel project is, of course, Ant-Man and the Wasp's Quantumania, which will give us a look at our new big bad for the multiverse saga, Kang the Conqueror. But as we look at him towards the future, today let's take a deep dive into his past and his origins in the comics. So today, let's take a look at Kang the Conqueror. Now, technically speaking, Kang made his first appearance pretty early on in the original Fantastic Four number 19, which came out October of 1963, written by Stan Lee and art done by Jack Kirby. Though in this comic, he was known as Rama-Tut, and he was proclaimed as the Pharaoh of the future. Rama-Tut told the Fantastic Four that he had time traveled to this time, which is the past, as in his own time there was no conflict or war, further proving how maniacal he really is. At the end of the comic, Rama-Tut is overwhelmed by the Fantastic Four, and eventually he flees with whatever is left of his Egyptian army. We also later find out that Rama-Tut's real name is Nathaniel Richards, aka Kang, and that this Rama-Tut was just one of many incarnations of Nathaniel Richards. And based on how Loki Season 1 ended, it looks like we could see multiple incarnations of Kang in the MCU. But back to this comic. In reality, at the time, Rama-Tut was just another regular villain for Marvel Comics, and not many readers really cared about him, so we didn't really see Kang again for some time. Though Rama-Tut was mostly gotten rid of during Fantastic Four number 19, during the Fantastic Four's second annual comic, Rama-Tut does run into the famous Doctor Doom. Through his meeting with Doom is what inspired Rama-Tut to take on the alter ego of Kang the Conqueror, and this is what led to his next appearance in Avengers Volume 1, number 8. Alright, so let's cut to about 1 year later in September of 1964. This is when Avengers Comic Volume 1, number 8 released, written by Stan Lee with art done by Jack Kirby. And this comic really was the true first appearance of Kang. We get to see Kang in his much more iconic green, purple, and blue suit, which also happens to be the suit that he will be wearing in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And as said before, this Kang is still Rama-Tut, but he has now converted his appearance and name, almost making him a completely different person. For some summary on this specific comic, Kang returns to Earth with the idea of, well, conquering it. No pun intended. Kang proves to all the Avengers that he is all-powerful, beating and capturing all the Avengers. Well, everyone except for the Wasp. The middle portion of the comic has the Wasp hatching a plan to get aboard Kang's ship and rescue the Avengers. The Avengers escape and go head-to-head with Kang, again this time defeating him by destroying his entire suit. And yet again, being defeated, Kang time travels back to his time, beginning to hatch yet another plan for victory. And right here really was the comic that made Kang so popular. Clearly, he had become a very powerful villain who was capable of defeating the Avengers, and many people were very excited for his future in Marvel Comics. Cutting to not even that much long after, we get to Avengers Comic Volume 1, number 10, giving us our first different incarnation of Kang, known as Immortus. And just to be clear, he is meant to be a future version of Kang and Rama-Tut. So think of it like Rama-Tut is the past, Kang is the present/future, and Immortus would be a variant very far into the future. Yeah, I know, it's confusing, but Kang is a big time traveler. Talking about the comic, we start with Immortus finding the Masters of Evil. If you don't know who the Masters of Evil are, they're essentially a team of villains, like the Sinister Six, but for the Avengers. The team members change, but some members are Baron Zemo, Ultron, and the Crimson Cowl. Back to the comic, Immortus is looking to team up with the Masters of Evil. Zemo is very distrusting of Immortus, so he tells Immortus that they can work together as long as Immortus helps them destroy the Avengers. So, Immortus decides to place an ad that gives a location on where you can get superpowers. Captain America sees this ad and gets all the Avengers to go to that location to investigate what it's all about. Of course, it's a trap set by Immortus to get the Avengers together in one place. Immortus proceeds to pit each Avenger against a character out of time that is similar to them. Giant Man goes against Goliath, Iron Man fights the wizard Merlin, and Thor is up against Hercules. After the Avengers defeat these three, Immortus realizes that even these characters will not be able to stop the Avengers, and so he calls the Masters of Evil to come help him. A great battle ensues between the two sides, but the Avengers are victorious. But in the last few seconds of the battle, Enchantress sends herself, Zemo, and the Executioner, who are all members of the Masters of Evil, back in time to a time before they ever met Immortus, so they would never have to go through something like this ever again. Alright, so now I want to take a transition to Kang's biggest comic storyline of all. The Kang Dynasty storyline was a huge 16-part story taking place in Avengers Volume 3 from issues number 41 to 55 and the Avengers Annual of 2001. This comic run was written by Kurt Busiek with art done by many artists including Alan Davis, Kieran Dwyer, Ivan Reyes, and Manuel Garcia. Due to it being such a long series, I'll just be giving a short summary on it, but I definitely recommend checking this series out along with all the Kang comics mentioned previously, as they are all amazing. We start with Kang arriving on Earth with his son Marcus, and they are both intent on conquering Earth together and, in their words, saving it. They go to the United Nations and destroy it using a blast from a giant sword set in space. Luckily, no one is killed as Kang had put a force field on all the people inside the building. Kang first strikes Europe, but many of the armies on Earth, such as the Avengers, the Atlanteans, and the Deviants, attempt to fight back against him in order to protect their planet. Later, a small portion of the Avengers, led by Captain America, invade Kang's ship while Kang is busy in his fight for Europe. While they are on the ship, Kang ends up victorious in seizing Europe, leaving Captain America's team stuck in space in Kang's ship, as there are no heroes to go and get them. Meanwhile, Kang and Marcus are on Earth gloating about their victory in conquering Europe. Luckily, using the power of Kang's ship, Captain America's team are able to have it fly towards Earth. On Earth, Kang declares to the world that he will conquer one city every hour, but he is overwhelmed by the Deviants and the Atlanteans and is forced to retreat back to space to his ship. Due to Captain America's team being on the ship already, a large fight ensues between them and Kang until the ship crashes onto Earth. Kang survives but is heavily injured. Captain America gets up and holds his shield towards Kang as Kang realizes he has lost. And though that is a very quick way of explaining this story, it will give you all a pretty good idea of how this story is and potentially how the MCU's Avengers The Kang Dynasty movie will go. And now, finally, we are back in our modern day where we are finally seeing Kang on the small and big screen with Loki Season 1 and the upcoming Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania movie. We are now seeing how Loki Season 1 opened up so many timelines for multiple variations of Kang to appear in the multiverse saga, and we are already going to see our first one in Ant-Man and the Wasp Quantumania. And from the trailers, he looks insane. So thank you all so much for watching this video. I'm hoping you all learn more about Kang through this video, and be sure to subscribe if you want, if you enjoy pop culture content. Also, be sure to check out our other story video on the Amazing Spider-Man right here, and our Marvel Fan Theories video over here. But other than that, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all in the next one.